Hey, how's it going, guys? Graham back here, making another video, this time about MLB All-Star selections and the All-Star ballot. So without further ado, we'll go right to it. And I'm going to get onto the ballot so we can go through this together. I'm going to just kind of go through it the way it is, the way that you'll see it when you're going through your ballot. And just kind of give you my thoughts on some of the positions and some of the different candidates as this has gone underway for about a week and a half now. The All-Star game is, I believe, July 19th. So still plenty of time to get your votes in. But this is how I see the ballot kind of as it's been underway for a little while. Okay, so first base, there's no shortage of really good candidates at this position, especially in the American League. You see, like right off the top, Jose Abreu. He won the American League MVP in 2020, the truncated season. He's not really having exactly the type of season that he usually has, not quite up to his typical numbers, but still a solid selection there. Luis Arias, no one's got a higher batting average or OPS, I believe, than this guy in this spot, in this position. He's been a bit of a revelation, really, for the Twins. They're playing some really good baseball. Ji-Man Choi, he's been a really good player for quite some time. He could find his way onto the All-Star team for the very first time. Now, Ty France is having the best season out of any American League first baseman. He would be an excellent choice. But honestly, I'm going to have a really hard time picking anyone who's not Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Sure, his average is a little bit down compared to last year. He's currently sitting at 267. Last year, he finished at 311. But the home run numbers are there. The power numbers are there. And he's just the most entertaining player. He's the guy I want to see at that spot. So I'm going to put him in. I'm going to put him in as my first baseman. Other guys that you could certainly consider at this spot are Ryan Mountcastle, Anthony Rizzo, and Jared Walsh. But for me, Vladdy's the guy I want to see in the game. Call me a homer if you wish, but that's just the way I see it. Now, National League, again, same thing. You're basically picking this time a bit of a smaller class of players. Pete Alonso, can't go wrong there. Josh Bell's having a really nice bounce back season. Freddie Freeman, kind of surprising. He's only sitting at 6 home runs right now. But he's going to be in there. He's going to get his fair share of the votes. And then Paul Goldschmidt is just having an incredible season. Look, if you vote for any of these guys, it's completely a great pick. And I totally get it. Goldschmidt is a frontline MVP candidate at this point. I know we're only less than 70 games into the season, but he's just having a fantastic season. If you look at those numbers, OPS of over 1 and the really high batting average there as well. But you know what? I'm going to go with a guy who has deserved it for a long time. He's been one of the better hitters in baseball, going back to, really the last 3 months of last season and the first 3 months of this season. And that's my guy, CJ Cron. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a big fan of Cron. I think he deserves it. And I think he has a decent chance to get there. Colorado not really having the type of season that a lot of people, or some people, me, thought that they would, but that's okay. Cron's still having a great year, and I'm going to give him the votes because you know what? I know those other guys are going to get their votes. So I'm going to give him my support. Second base in the American League, for me, it's really down to a few guys. Jose Altuve is the big name. He's got 12 home runs, a pretty high OPS there. But then you got a couple of more unheralded guys, Santiago Espinal and Andre Jimenez, who are really having kind of breakout seasons. Whit Merrifield's usually a guy you'd consider at that spot, but he's really not having the kind of season he's known for, or usually has. Semien, he's had a tough time getting going with Texas on that big contract. Story, the power numbers are pretty good, pretty productive there. And, Gleyber Torres has had a nice bounce back year. But again, I'm going to support the guy who I think is not necessarily a big name player. He's not going to get the votes. I think he deserves it. I'm going with another Blue Jay. Call me what you will, but I'm going to throw my support behind Santiago Espinal. I just think the guy deserves it. He's just he's shown up to camp bulked up. He's worked really hard, and he has been a mainstay for the Blue Jays, one of their most consistent players all season. Now, National League second base, for me, it really comes down to about three guys. You got Jazz Chisholm Jr. here, really good production there, high OPS, 13 home runs. Like to see that batting average a little higher than what it is, 244 there, but still having a really good season. Jake Cronenworth is right there too. I've definitely voted for him a few times last year. Pretty high production with the RBIs there as well. And then, when you talk about second base, the guy who I've really been voting for pretty consistently throughout this process is Jeff McNeil. He's the Mets, arguably one of their better players, and a big reason why they've been such a good team this year. You see the really high batting average there, 326, and he's solid defensively. So I'm gonna vote for Jeff McNeil. Excuse me. Now, third base, American League. For me, this is really between either Rafael Devers or Jose Ramirez, whoever you think is better. For me, it's clearly Ramirez. He's got 20 more RBI. He's got that OPS over 1. He walks a ton, and he plays a great third base. So definitely, probably the frontline MVP candidate in the American League right now. Although it is still early, I think he's also the best candidate to vote for third base in the American League. Okay, now third base in the National League, it's really between a few guys. Nolan Arenado, you really can't go wrong. He's got the highest WAR out of any third baseman. Brandon Drury having a nice bounce back season for the Cincinnati Reds. He did not do well as a Toronto Blue Jay, but that's another story for another day. Brian Hayes, if you're feeling a little bit adventurous, you're feeling a little bit, you want to support someone who maybe might not get as many votes. No one's better defensively than Brian Hayes at the third base position. Maybe Nolan Arenado, but he's got the highest defensive WAR out of any player. So definitely consider that. So who am I going to go with here? I'm probably gonna. I've been voting for Machado a lot, but I'm a little bit mad at him now. He didn't come through for me. My beat the streak pick. I got all the way up to 16. He had one at bat today, and then he got injured. So it still counts as not getting a hit. So I'm a little sore about that. So I'm going to throw my support behind Nolan Arenado, third base in the National League. Now going over to shortstop, there's a few guys, a few different directions you could definitely go in this way. Anderson's a popular pick. You got Bichette, Xander Bogaerts, Carlos Correa. JP Crawford is a really underrated player in this regard. If you think about some of the big names, and Jeremy Pena is definitely a player you should consider at shortstop. He's got the one of the higher WARs at that spot. He got off to a really great start. He's tailed off a little bit, but definitely a favorite for the American League Rookie of the Year, if not being represented in that All-Star game as well. But for now, I think I'm going to go with Xander Bogaerts of the Red Sox. Was considering Bichette at that point, at that spot, but I don't want to be too much of a homer. Now, National League, the advanced analytics say that you should vote for Tommy Edman all day. I didn't realize that he's actually got the highest WAR of any position player around. So that's pretty cool. I think Trey Tanner is going to get his fair share of the votes. So I am going to support Edman. I think he definitely deserves it with that pretty gaudy stat line of a WAR of approaching 4. It might be a bit above that at this point now, actually. Now, American League catcher, really it comes down to a couple guys, but for me, it's a pretty overwhelming an obvious choice of Alejandro Kirk. Again, another Blue Jay. That's the way I see it. He's just hit for such a great average. He's shown the power of late, but he's also shown the ability to throw out base runners, and he's got great catcher framing stats, really high strike rate. So Alejandro Kirk, definitely a player on the move for the Blue Jays, and I think he has a good chance to actually start in this game as well. Now, National League catcher, really all signs point to Wilson Contreras. there's some other decent players in there. If you think about Tyler Stevenson, Dalton Varsho, um, yeah, Travis d'Arnaud. If you really think about it, maybe your Yadier Molina will get some votes. Will Smith is another guy there, but again, I'm going to go with Wilson Contreras. He's just the best player at that spot at this point in time. Now, American League outfield. It's really hard for me to envision an outfield that's not Byron Buxton. As we scroll through the list, Aaron Judge, who's just been the best player in the majors this season. I don't think there's much debate about that. And, I know it's generic, but, it's really hard not to vote for Mike Trout as well. He's having that Mike Trout type of season, that OPS over 1 as well, 21 home runs. So I'm not going to overthink this, and I'm just going to vote for the guys that I think are the best players in that spot. And those are those 3 guys. Now, National League, it's a little bit tougher. The first 2 guys are pretty easy picks for me. Definitely Mookie Betts, and the other one would be for the Giants. It would be Jock Peterson. Bit of a tough time finding a third one. I've been kind of alternating between a few different guys. I'm going to go with Schwarber this time. He's got some high power numbers. Really not a great outfielder, so maybe my instincts will tell me to go somewhere else. But actually, you know what? I am going to do a last minute mind change here with Starling Marte. I voted for him a few times. I'm going to do it again now as my third outfielder. Now, designated hitter, don't think about this too much. Just vote for Yordan Alvarez. He's definitely the most deserving player in that spot. Miguel Cabreras will tug on the heartstrings, certainly. Danny Jansen having a really good season, but he doesn't have nearly the at-bats. JD Martinez is another guy you consider here. Also, Shohei Ohtani will definitely get his share of the votes, but Yordan Alvarez is the guy who deserves it the most. So that he's getting my vote today, at least. National League, it's also an obvious selection, Bryce Harper. Don't think about this. Don't overthink it. Another one of the guys with an OPS over 1. Great batting average there, and he's just been doing it every day. So bit of a weird position for him to be playing in the All-Star game. Not on the All-Star game. He's always in the All-Star game as a designated hitter. So he's had some different injury concerns. So he's been making the most of it, and he's having just a great season for the Phillies, who have been on a real roll lately, been able to win some ball games, particularly after firing manager, I should say, Joe Girardi. So anyways, this was a lot of fun making my picks there. I'm going to fill out my information there to make it official a little bit later on. This is a bit of a companion to the article I have coming out shortly. So thanks for joining me again, and I'll see you on the other side. Thank you.